but let's eat it straight. We'll talk about emotions. Emotions are important. So emotions are those things is something we love and something we hate at the same time. All right. It's a demon as well as it's an angel. Right. Emotions are finicky. We cannot rest our lives on them because they're not predictable. Right. If we cannot rest our life on emotions, yet we need to rest our lives on emotion. Right. It's a paradox, right, when it comes to emotions, because we're emotional beings. We're emotional beings. We cannot live without emotions, right? Yet we cannot base our life on them, right? Because we're made to be emotional, and we love the good feeling of emotion. It makes us feel human when we have emotions, right? We have emotions of joy, emotions of love, emotions that are occasioned by being happy, by liking something, by enjoying something, by feeling good. Some people drive towards emotions and become addicted, right? The only reason people get addicted is because they're chasing after some emotion, some high that they've had at some point in time, and they cannot arouse themselves themselves. So they look for some other ingredient that will take them to that climax, to that elusive high that they're looking for. So that's so how much emotions affect us, so much that people that then crave for it through drugs, smoking, drinking, will almost do anything to get that emotion back. So you have people that will go into stealing, prostitution, just to make money to get that emotion, right? Because once you get addicted to them, they could be life-threatening, such that you could almost do anything to get it. So that's the evil and the good of emotions. And obviously it affects every area of our life, right? To talk about not having emotion is to say that you become a robot, right? People that don't have emotions are dead. They are living dead. They are walking corpse, because emotions, it's what gives us a sense of life, the sense of living, as a sense of living, So what do you agree with everything I've said? Is that something from medical line I missed out?
Well, it's not about the medical line. Yeah, that emotions are fickle, because sometimes what you're feeling may not be true. Like,
Absolutely.
you're feeling, you know, like, let's say medically, you're
Absolutely.
feeling, oh, I have a headache, or maybe there's something wrong in my brain. Maybe,
Yeah.
like for me, I'm the medical line, so anything that happens to me, if I feel any pain here, my first instinct is think about the bad thing. So our emotions are fickle, in
Yes.
that the things that we feel are not some. I mean, we have God-given instinct, but some of the things that we feel, maybe 50% of it, of the things that we are afraid of, or we fear, or the things that we are concerned about, or the things that we're thinking about are not true, are sometimes not true. So yeah, I agree. So you need to really that be a balance. You know what God's word says. You know what is true, and not worry about what you don't know, like the unknown. I think the most thing is we worry about the unknown, right? We think about our emotions,
Yeah.
about things, oh, wrong things, but they're sometimes not true.
Yeah. Yeah. True. So the problem is probably not the emotion, but rather our interpretation of the emotion.
Right.
Right. Because I'm feeling somehow, I feel that it is this. So it's not the emotion that's necessarily the problem, but my interpretation of the emotion.
Of the emotion.
Because the emotion
Right.
is just telling me that something happening.
Right.
Now, if by experience I'm able to interpret it right, there's nothing wrong with the emotion. But if I interpret it wrongly, then I'm the one at fault, not necessarily the emotion itself.
Right.
Yeah. So this is what happens for high performance. Almost for every human being, when you're about to do something that involves you showcasing yourself to a number of people, or something that is very important to you, we talk about having the butterfly in your stomach, right? You start
Right.
feeling start feeling somehow, right?
Yes. Right.
Yeah. That happens to about everybody, but people interpret it differently and it affects them then differently.
Different.
Right? Everyone has that emotion. For some people, it discourages them and makes them not to perform at the height they should. For some, they use it and to perform at the ultimate they should. Right? For some people, it means nothing. Right? So
Right.
it's not the emotion because it happens to everybody, but different people, because of the way they understand it, use it differently. You know, what high performance say is they interpret it as readiness to perform. They
Right.
don't interpret it as them being scared or fearful or, maybe they've not done their practice well. No, they say, wow, I'm pretty ready to do this thing. Oh, this is going to be a very good performance. The way they interpret it, right, gives them a different motivation and a different power to perform. Whereas someone else will interpret it, wow, suddenly their legs start shaking. Oh, what will people say? Oh, they think about my performance. Oh, what if I sleep? Oh, what if I've forgotten that thing? Oh, that thing I did not read. Oh, what suppose that thing comes out? Oh, what if they ask me that question? Right? If you interpret it as that is a feeling of not being ready, that's what you will get. So you see, the emotions are the same, but your interpretation now changes whether it works for you or against you. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes.
So that's tied to uh, our positive consciousness or our negative consciousness. If you're conscious of a negative, then the emotions will work against you. If you're conscious of the positive, then the emotions can and should work for you.
Right.
Another example I would give is what we call the uh, most powerful force, probably which is tied to emotions, right? Is what we call the sexual emotion, right?
Right.
Yeah. For some people, every time I feel like I was counseling a lady the other day, a while ago, and each time she's ovulating and she feels, when you women are ovulating, there's a natural attraction to want to have sex, right?
Right.
For her it was that she must look for someone to have sex with,
Oh
right?
wow.
The
Right.
husband was someone that works in the field, is not around. So she has
Right.
someone she was going to, right?
Oh wow.
Because she feels that anytime she's like that, she must have sex,
Huh.
right? So for her,
Right.
she became imprisoned by that feeling.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Whereas someone else, that even though this is the way my body is feeling, can
Right.
interpret it otherwise, right?
Right. Right.
And you, in holding yourself, you do what we call a transmutation of that energy.
Right.
The sexual energy that is high at that point, if you hold yourself, you can then use it to other purposes. Because if you
Right.
don't, expend it in a sexual intercourse, that energy is still available. It's not destroyed, right? Your ability to hold yourself in the face of that temptation, right, gives you energy that you can tap into other things.
I think, yeah.
So we'll call that energy transmutation. So you find people that are always who masturbate and go after everything in skirt or everything in trousers. They miss the opportunity of being able to use the sexual energy to do greater, better things in their life.
Right.
Because your ability to control that energy gives you energy that's available for other gainful purposes, right?
Right.
So the emotion is there, but whether you then allow it to rule over you or you rule over it determines what happens to you, determines whether you are winning or you are losing.